Valparaiso has been making an incredible transformation, and much is attributed to our guest today. Stay with us for a chat with Mayor Jon Costas next on Lakeshore Focus.
Programming is supported by NIPSCO. Today's young minds are constantly reimagining what our world will be like tomorrow. That's why NIPSCO is upgrading its infrastructure now, so we're ready for whatever comes next. More information at nipsco.com/future.
Welcome again to Lakeshore Focus, a weekly show highlighting the key issues, important events, and interesting people in our region. I'm Keith Kirkpatrick. Have you been to Valparaiso lately? There are some amazing things happening there. The people of that city have much to do with these changes and improvements, but it's leadership that drives that process. Without it, you don't make progress. With it, you can do the incredible, and that's what is happening through the leadership of their mayor, Jon Costas, who is with us today. So welcome to Lakeshore Focus.
Glad to be with you, Keith.
Yeah, I've been actually trying to get you on this show for a long time, so you're just a busy guy. Always something going on. You know, I had the mayor of LaPorte on here a couple weeks ago, Blair Milo, and we started the show because she always starts her talks with doing exercises, you know, moving her arms and that kind of stuff. So I know you're a runner, right?
Well, I've done a bunch of triathlons. In fact, I've done 7 Ironman, the full distance Ironman triathlons. So for years that was a hobby. Now as I've gotten older, I just like to run and do some biking, more less mileage. It's easier on the body.
Well, we're going to forego me doing any of the triathlon activities as a start to the show today, and just know that you do those, right?
Yeah, right, right.
That's pretty impressive. You know, there are some incredible things going on in Valparaiso right now, and you have been the mayor now for this year in your 4th term?
Yes, about 13 years.
So is this a lifetime thing?
No, actually, I'm not. I'm going to complete this term and not run again. It's been a wonderful experience, and but there's always a time to end and a time to begin, and I feel that 14 years or 16 years when I complete this term, it's a long time to be mayor, and it's important to have new ideas, new perspective infused. So I'm looking forward to some of the things that I've been putting off that I want to do, but at the same time, looking forward to new leadership to move this city even forward to greater heights.
So if there's so many interesting things and good things going on in Valpo, but if you could kind of take and say, these are the 3 really major impact things that have been done in our community, what would those 3 be?
Well, I think when I always ask citizens, because it's what they think is important, is what we should think is important. I think the revitalization of the downtown is certainly the #1 on their list. I mean, we took a downtown that 13 years ago was on life support, and we knew it had to become the heart of the city, because if the heart beats strong, the entire body is healthy. It impacts the entire city. And so we set out on a long-term plan to remake the downtown. It was no longer the commerce for retail business, and it needed to become a dining, entertainment, arts, and specialty shopping district. And so that plan really was a long-term plan, because it can't be done overnight. There's no silver bullet. There's really a number of things that you have to do.
And great places to eat.
Yeah,
sure. How many restaurants are downtown?
Well, you know,
I've actually counted them, so
I think close to 40, really, if you add them all up, and it's quite an area. In fact, what's happened now that it's become such a gathering place, the real estate market in the near downtown has become very hot. A lot of young people and even empty nesters, they want to live in the downtown so they can walk to these great restaurants. We have over 300 events a year. We've got now the outdoor pavilion, the Urschel Plaza. We had 56,000 skaters in our first season. Compare that to Maggie Daley Park. They had 92,000 last year. So it's an incredible area of events, activity. It's a great place to just hang out. And so it's become a very special place, almost a sacred place for our residents. So that's really the #1 thing I think that our citizens would point to.
Before we move to #2, I think a lot of our viewers will go, really? There are 40 restaurants downtown? And is really true. There are 40 places to go and eat, pretty close to that. And I think the events people told me that there's almost 250 events per year, something like that downtown. So basically everything, almost every night, there's something going on, or every
Well,
day.
it's important because when you think of it, it's like hardware and software. Okay, you can have a computer, but if you don't have good software, it's not going to do much for you. Right. So the hardware are the facilities. You need to have beautiful facilities, functional facilities, multifunctional facilities. So like the Urschel Plaza, by summer, it's a huge outdoor area where we have lots of events because you can have them even when it rains. But by winter, it's an ice skating rink. So we try to make everything very functional. But you have to have the events. It's important in today's environment to get people together, people from all walks of life. And our downtown is a place where everybody is welcome. It is the public square. It belongs to the people, and so it's become a very important place for people to gather. But we want to have events and celebrate all kinds of things.
It is really amazing when you're there, when you walk around. It's like, what are all these people doing down here? I mean, there's people walking around, they're in the restaurants. It's just, it's very exciting. It's very exciting. So what's your number 2 on your list?
Well, I'd have to say all the things that we've been doing in the Parks Department, and we have an extraordinary Parks Department. And we've not only expanded and improved our parks, for instance, Valparaiso. We after 20 years, we built Valparaiso 20 years ago, and now we rebuilt it as a community playground. We raised $1 million and built it with volunteer labor. It's an incredible, it's an inclusive playground, disability inclusive, one of the largest in the world. And so our parks are just a fabulous, are fabulous in many ways. We've added lots of pathways, so people are walking and riding their bikes and getting out. We're just about to finish a pathway that connects the central part of town to our neighbors, to our subdivisions in the west. It's almost a mile long going over Beauty Creek, so we're constantly adding to our pathways. Plus, what you'll see is the parks have taken on a new horticultural responsibility. So we're turning ditches into flower beds all over town and into flowers, we call them environmental swales, where instead of ditches by the side of the road, you have beautiful flowers with water absorbing plants. So what you're seeing is beautiful verdant color all over downtown, all over the areas of the city, and pathways. We're adding a couple miles this year. So our parks are really extraordinary under the leadership of John Seibert, truly one of the great park directors, I think, in the country.
Well, he'll appreciate you dropping his name on the show so that he can watch this. So transformation is a great word to be used, because when you're transforming all that green space and all that recreational space, and we have learned kind of the hard way that that's what's really drawing young people to stay in communities. They want those bike paths, they want those hiking places, they want all this green space that they can take their kids and they can walk around with their friends.
Keith, that's a really great point, because it impacts economic development. Really what we're hearing and what we believe is that economic development is about really creating the type of community that the millennials and the Generation X and now the Generation Z, which are those in college.
What's going to happen after we're out of the alphabet now? So we're at the end of the generation.
The next one is Alpha. They're 5 years old, the oldest. So I'm not sure what happens after Alpha. So I guess they're starting back again.
We're going to start over. It's like the hurricane thing.
Right.
Follow the alphabet.
But really, if you create a community where young people want to live, they bring a vibrancy where the jobs will come to you. In fact, I have a story. We have an engineering company that recently relocated to Valparaiso, and they're relocating right in our downtown on Washington Street, which we're remaking as we speak, the block north on Washington from Lincoln Way. And I asked them, I said, well, why did you locate in the middle of a downtown? And they said, because that's where the young people want to be. They love the vibrancy of downtown. They love the activities. They want to live in and around the downtown, and that's where we need to be. And so So that's important. Economic development is important, and we're doing a lot of the right things. We're creating shovel-ready sites. We're actually building a spec building, one of the few large spec buildings in the Lakes development. We're doing all those meat and potato things for economic development, but more than that, we're creating a community where people want to relocate, where children want to return home after they've received their college degree, and it feels really good.
It's that sense of place. It's that sense of place. So what's your third? Because we've talked about the parks and the green space, and we've talked about the downtown. If you had to pick a third major impact,
I would have to say we're really good at economic development, and we have a very low unemployment rate. I have a very sophisticated team. They can go up against larger cities, whether it be utilities. In fact, today we cut the ribbon on a $20 million water expansion, which when Pratt expanded, they're our largest private employer. When they expanded several years ago, one of the main reasons was water. We had plenty of it, and we knew how to deal with their pretreatment issues. So we're very strong in economic development. Our companies are growing. We're a place where people want to come and grow their companies. So I think we do that quite well. So economic development, we're doing the basics. We have the shovel-ready sites. We have the business parks, but we also have the type of community that people want to invest in. So I'd have to say our economic development efforts, led by Patrick Lipp and Stu Summers and our redevelopment commission, they're doing a fabulous job.
Those are great guys. So if I had to ask you, or wanted to ask you the fourth one, my guess is it would probably be about something about diversity and the welcoming nature, because I live in Valpo, you know that. Mm-hmm. So I've just seen our community change, and I know we've had some issues with it, but in many ways, I know your mantra has been, we need to be a welcoming community to all kinds of people. So
absolutely.
Talk about that struggle a little bit.
Well, it really started shortly after I was elected. As I began reading and studying demographics, I began seeing that really the demographics are changing in every community. Our African American and Hispanic populations are growing, just like many communities are, and that's a thing to celebrate. And what we need to do, but it's change, and change is never easy. Okay, so leadership is about the art of managing disappointment. Okay, change creates disappointment, and so to lead well is to help people through the process of change, and there are mechanics to that, and so I see that as one of my roles. So we want to get out in front of it. So we created a Human Relations Commission that started talking about these issues and started saying, our Hispanic population in 10 years went from 3% to 7%, and I bet it's approaching 8 or 9%. African American went from 1% to probably 4% now. And we want people to feel, as we look differently, as we come from different ethnic backgrounds, that Valparaiso is a place that is welcoming, that is a place where anybody can come and be a vibrant part of this community and feel valued. And so there are things that you can do. And we've created Altogether Valpo, which is a way of addressing some of the specific issues. And we're engaging lots of citizens in this process. We did the largest the most substantial long-term visioning program the city's ever done with Valpo Next, and involved several thousand residents in that. So we want to engage our residents. We want them to be to help us define the future. Leadership is more organic than I think people realize. I feel that I'm just a representative. I'm there to do what the people want done. I can't do any more, and I shouldn't do any less. And so we really try to listen. We really try to engage our citizens, and I think we've done that pretty well. So really, that citizen engagement piece, dealing with issues of race, dealing with issues of a changing community, and helping people engage together are certainly on that list of the top 5.
Despite the fact that you've done so much about this diversity issue, we still, every once in a while, will have one of these incidents where somebody really treats somebody very poorly or in a very prejudicial way. I mean,
yeah, I don't think you can stop that. People will do stupid things and say stupid things. The thing is this, sometimes we all say stupid things. We think a day later, why did I act that way or say that way? So we have to let those isolated incidents go. We really have to focus on what's really important. And again, it's about being ahead of an issue. It's about, for instance, trying to raise up, to build leadership capacity among the younger people, among people of color. So I'm always trying to empower those people, whether they serve on committees, whether they just have a more visible role in the community. That's part of what we do. Those things are much more significant than everybody can when an event happens that is disappointing. Yes, we all can condemn that. But what are we doing proactively to truly empower those people?
And that's one of the things I've appreciated about Valpo, because we will engage in that process of talking about that issue and how we can deal with that. And I think that's neat. I was intrigued by the term you used before about managing disappointment. And that kind of ties in with, you're not going to please everybody, and you have your detractors, and you have people like, I don't like what's being done to this city. How do you kind of deal with that? Talk about that a little bit, about that, managing disappointment.
You have to understand this. First of all, I thrive on change. I just love change. You know, I was joking with my wife. I've never bought the same car twice. She buys the same car every year, but she loves that car. You know, every time we upgrade to the newer car, but I just like different things. So, but not everybody's that way, and it's probably a good thing. So I have to understand that, okay, it's a good fit for being mayor, because I live in the future. I live 3 years out. That's where my life is. I don't deal with the day-to-day operations of the city. Bill Oding does that, and he does it very well. That's not my job. And if I was doing that, I would be doing a disservice to the citizens. So I'm always thinking about the future. Now, some people are early adopters, some people are middle adopters, some people are late adopters. That is just the way it is. And so you have to manage a process where you have meaningful conversations. So we don't like to make change very quickly. We like to do it methodically and deliberately, and it's important to give people an opportunity to be heard, okay? Because sometimes the reactions are very visceral at first. They're afraid of change. Change is hard. It makes me think differently. And so what we help them to see is, okay, but change is necessary. Okay, we need to do this for the next generation. We need to do this because it's the right thing to do. But it takes time. And you have to let people speak, you have to listen to them, and oftentimes our plans get better along the way because we do that. So we have a process.
I've watched you deal with the public in many ways. I don't know that I've ever seen you kind of frazzled. You just always seem to basically do what you just explained. So what does kind of get to you, or where have you felt like, you know, man, I could have handled that better?
Well, sometimes, you know, everybody can reach the end of their rope. Sometimes I get frustrated when people, you know what, I guess what really frustrates me is when we have an issue. I think it's very important to try to provide for meaningful conversations where people really listen to each other and not try to scare other people in order to get them to believe what they believe. So that frustrates me when people use social media, and rather than saying, okay, well, let's listen to what the other side has to say. Let's have a good, productive discussion where we really do listen rather than make, make other people look bad or question their motives. So that's the thing that probably frustrates me the most. You know, I think Valparaiso generally does that pretty well, but when that happens occasionally, it's destructive. We need to listen to each other, we need to talk about how to compromise, and we need to not judge each other, but realize that, hey, we all have different views, and that's a good thing. We all got to learn to live together, and the way to do that is to listen and understand from the other person's perspective.
That is really difficult, because I've seen those people who, it's like, you just need to listen to me, and I don't care what you say, I'm not going to believe it. But that was one of the things that Blair talked about, is trying to deal with people who just distrust. I don't care what you say, your government, and you people always you do what the people really don't want, you don't really pay attention, you spend way too much money. How do you respond to that?
Well, it can be very frustrating. I think what you need to do is you need to realize that you're probably never going to change their minds, but that typically is a small but vocal group. Social media sometimes gives a voice to people who haven't earned a voice, and social media is a beautiful thing. It's challenging, and that's one of the negatives of it. But what you do is you stay calm and you stay focused on the real positives of it, and you keep talking about that. So you don't let other people change your agenda. So from my standpoint, we have a strategic plan. Hey, we all sat down, we all decided on the strategic plan. Everybody had a say in it. Yes, okay. Then it's all about getting the plan done. So I don't care what people say or what they report in the paper. The way we grade ourselves is, did we get this project done that forwards the strategic plan?
What's the one thing, and we're getting toward the end here, but what's the one thing we just haven't made as much progress on this as I want to, or this is the next thing we've just really got to tackle to move us forward?
Well, we've got two things. We've got the transit-oriented development in the downtown. Very complex project. It's going to involve a lot of money. That's moving along slower than what I'd like, but we're going to get it done. The Route 30 improvements that I have a large grant for, that's moved much slower than I wanted, so I'm frustrated a little bit by that. The other cool thing about the downtown is the creative district that is shaping up. We're going to get that done too. It's going to be part of the vibrancy, and of course the new museum is awesome. Kevin Pazer is doing a fabulous job. And then the next big roundabout is going to be on LaPorte.
You are the roundabout king, aren't you?
Well,
did you get that title, I think?
In northern Indiana, yes. But we're building a large roundabout at the entranceway at LaPorte and Silhavy, where our big box stores are. It's going to be a beauty. So, but it's a big one. So
it's going to be something.
Forward to that.
Is this going to be your legacy? They're
Well,
going to name this after you, John. The Costas roundabout.
I don't know, but they do work well in many locations. Not every location, but many locations.
So you've got a few years left on your term. Where are you headed after that?
I've got 3 years left. We're going to finish strong. We're going to wrap up all these projects. We're going to work on elevating the next generation of leadership. We're even doing that now. I have lots of things. I'm a small business owner. I take classes. I'm real involved in things at church. I like the faith aspect of things. I'm taking pilot license with my son. I just love learning new things and I like doing a lot of different things. So being mayor has afforded me the ability to be flexible. I also have an elder law practice that I really do enjoy. It doesn't take a lot of my time. It's a little niche. So I'll continue that, and I've got a couple of grandkids and hopefully more along the way. So life's pretty busy, but I feel so thankful for my life and all that I've experienced. I'm so thankful to have the opportunity to serve as mayor of Valparaiso.
Might we see a tap on your shoulder for governor or something higher office at some point, do you think?
I don't know. I really don't have that in my sights right now. It's really about the need. I became mayor because there was a need for it. I was a business person, a lawyer, and people in the community asked me to consider. If there's a need that I can fill, perhaps, but for now, I'm really happy doing what I do.
Well, thanks for being on the show, and I appreciate your leadership and all that you've done. And I'm just going to keep telling people they should come over and see Valparaiso and see what the great plans are. So thanks for being here.
Thank you, Keith.
You bet. "20 years ago, you may have read the title of a media article which said, 'Downtowns in small town America are dead.' You could have added small cities to that group. Things have changed, and that headline is dead, particularly in Northwest Indiana, and thankfully in many communities across the country. We are now seeing a revitalization or renaissance for our downtowns. I love both the words revitalization and renaissance. Revitalize is to become vital again, to see new life flourish. Renaissance is an elegant word recalling the rebirth of arts, literature, and culture in Europe for nearly 300 years. It means renewal of life, vigor, interest, a revival. In a world filled with negativity, these concepts feel refreshing, loaded with hope. Our downtowns in much of Northwest Indiana are experiencing wonderful transformation. Each is in various stages of development, but they are blossoming. Have you visited any of them? Have you seen their plans and visions? You heard about one of them today as we talked about Valparaiso, which is quite advanced in its revitalization and plans for the future. Whiting is in the same category. We had a show on Lakeshore Focus a few months ago about the incredible projects in store for Michigan City. Crown Point has been working on its core for quite a while, and there is progress. Take a look at Hobart and what they are doing to the Central Business District and Lakefront. These are the success stories and our future victories. There are other older communities that have been addressing this problem, but have not quite hit the tipping point yet. I am expecting it, though, from Hammond, Chesterton, Highland, and Gary. Then we have the I Wish I Had a Downtown group. These are suburban-type communities which were birthed in the 60s and 70s and grew without a center heartbeat. It also includes our towns which have nearly lost their downtowns primarily from the rerouting of highways. Places like Dyer, Sherrville, Portage, and St. John now realize what a central business district can do positively for a community. They are working to make it happen. Portage is probably the most advanced with an incredible plan for creating a city central. I recommend you take a look at what is happening in our region. Appreciate, applaud, and be proud of the progress that is being made and the leadership that is making it happen. We hope that our show enlightened and inspired you in some way. If you have thoughts and comments about today's broadcast, we would like to hear them. Our email address and website are listed on your screen. If I missed your town in my list of Renaissance projects, let me know. I'm always glad to bring it to our viewers' attention. Tell your friends and family that you watch Lakeshore Public Television and it has a positive impact on your life. Be sure and join us again next week for another Lakeshore Focus. Until then, I'm Keith Kirkpatrick saying, make a positive difference in our world today.
Programming is supported by NIPSCO. Today's young minds are constantly reimagining what our world will be like tomorrow. That's why NIPSCO is upgrading its infrastructure now, so we're ready for whatever comes next. More information at nipsco.com/future.